So today, Iowa and Nebraska, we're very pleased to be announcing a large multi-state coalition to asking the EPA to step in to help streamline and protect labeling rules for our nationwide marketplace for one of the most critical inputs, glyphosate, when it comes to actually developing low-cost ag. We know in Nebraska, Iowa, we feed the world. Not only do we feed the world, but we do it in a very thoughtful, low-cost way. In a high inflationary environment, we know having access to high quality, low cost food is critical, and to be able to do that around the country, it is critical for Nebraska farmers and Iowa farmers to be able to have access to one of their most important tools in their toolbox, which is glyphosate, which is maybe not only the most successful herbicide that is in use today. It's ubiquitous. I think Director Minton might talk about this. Almost every farm has used it or is currently using it. We also know it's come off patent protection. We also know it's a low cost. What we're seeing, we know labeling, it's a nationwide marketplace for this particular product. The EPA has been given the authority to actually help regulate the labeling in this context, and what we would expect is to avoid compliance costs, avoid logistical nightmares, to have other costs that will roll down to producers and ultimately roll down to consumers of food products around the country. What we would want to see, and what we have seen historically, is one nationwide rule for labeling. Unfortunately, what we are now seeing are states, in particular California, and by the way, this isn't the first time that Iowa and Nebraska has teamed up to fight against overreach, whether it's California, we've sued California in the advanced clean fleet context, where they've really tried to jam an electric vehicle mandate in the logistics industry. We've also teamed up, by the way, to sue the federal government, whether they've overreached in waters of the U.S. or in the E15 context or the clean power context. So this isn't the first time that we've teamed up to help fight against regulatory overreach. And what we're now seeing is California, and we're concerned about other states injecting new labeling requirements that are not based on sound science, that we think are ideologically driven, and only will create confusion in the marketplace, will increase costs in the marketplace, potentially could have some of these products over the long haul be pulled out of being sold in various states, including Nebraska. And what we're trying to do with our action today is to ensure access to this critical input in the agricultural context, to give our farmers the option that they've had for decades to be able to use this technology to help ensure that they can have the high yields that they're used to be able to manage their own crops, and be able to help produce the food that we've expected that come out of Iowa and Nebraska. What we've done specifically is to file a petition for rulemaking with the EPA. That we have 11 states altogether that have joined that particular request. What we're asking the EPA to do, and by the way, a lot of times we might sue the EPA because they go outside of their congressional authority or their constitutional lane. In this context, though, the federal government, through the Federal Insecticide Act, has directly contemplated that the EPA will regulate the nationwide marketplace, including for these types of products, in particular with labeling. So what we're asking the EPA to do is to put forward a rule that makes clear that the EPA, that they will set the labeling standards for the entire country, that the labeling standards are based on strong science, years of science and scientific study. They've reached conclusions as to the benefit and safety of glyphosate that has been agreed with by regulatory bodies around the world. And all we're asking is the EPA to take the authority it's been given by Congress to ensure that states cannot create a patchwork of labeling laws that will create confusion and ultimately increase costs, both for manufacturers and for producers, but also for customers downstream. So that's what we've done today.